Hello and welcome to this breaking news brief. We are currently tracking an actively unfolding connectivity situation, and we've got fresh intelligence coming across the desk right now regarding a critical gateway bottleneck. Now, if you've ever found yourself just staring at a screen, waiting for the digital world to catch up with you, well, you know exactly how tense those micro moments can do. So let's dive straight into this and look at the exact status and the technical requirements you need to actually establish this connection based on the latest intel we have. Plunging right into the immediate situation, the data we're tracking presents us with this iconic, almost universally understood phrase, just a moment. And what's really fascinating here is how perfectly this captures the exact holding pattern we're in right now. I mean, it's a phrase that demands your patience, but it offers absolutely zero timeline. You know, we aren't disconnected, but we sure haven't arrived yet either. We're essentially stuck in a digital waiting room, just suspended in transit. It's a really interesting psychological anchor right at the start of this whole process. But we do have some initial good news coming down the wire. Let's look at this next update to see how the situation is developing. We now have official confirmation, verification successful. What does that mean for us? Well, it means the primary security checks, those initial hurdles of the digital handshake, have been completely cleared. You are not being blocked. The system recognizes the attempt, it's validated the origin, and that first gate has officially swung open. It's a huge milestone in this developing connectivity story. Now, to give you a clearer picture of what's actually happening behind the scenes, we can break down this highly specific sequence of events, and this brilliantly maps out the structured digital journey we're currently navigating. Step 1, as we just reported, is that successful verification. Moving on to step 2, this puts us right back in a holding pattern, waiting for the destination server, which is OpenAI.com in this case, to actually respond to our knock at the door. And then step 3 outlines a mandatory action on your end involving JavaScript and cookies. It's literally a step-by-step roadmap of our current standstill. Okay, let's slow down for just a second and focus entirely on that second step, because honestly, this is the dramatic center of our news brief today. Waiting for OpenAI.com to respond. This right here is the true crux of the delay. The ball is entirely in the destination's court right now. The local system has done its job, the verification is totally locked in, and now we're dealing with some intense server-side latency. This specific piece of intel emphasizes exactly why we're in this current state of suspense. In fact, we're seeing this exact string of text repeating in our intelligence feed right now, serving as a confirmed secondary report. Verification successful, waiting for OpenAI.com to respond. And this repetition firmly validates our initial findings. The situation remains totally static. The green light of verification is definitely still active, but we're essentially watching a digital standoff happen in real time, completely bottlenecked by that persistent wait for the server to reply. However, the incoming feed doesn't just leave us waiting in the dark. It actually pivots sharply to provide some incredibly actionable intelligence. We have a very clear directive coming in regarding mandatory technical actions. So the crucial takeaway here is that resolving this standoff isn't entirely up to the server. There are specific required actions that literally must be taken on the user side of the terminal to break us out of this digital standstill. Let's look at exactly what those are. The incoming intelligence spells out the exact technical parameters you've got to engage. You need to do two very specific things: enable JavaScript and enable cookies. And guys, these aren't just polite suggestions. These are the structural, local browser requirements absolutely necessary for the page to function and for that digital handshake to complete. Without these two specific client-side mechanics actively running, the connection simply cannot and will not finalize, no matter how successful that initial verification was. And to really underscore the absolute necessity of this, the latest incoming intelligence delivers a final, definitive mandate. Look at the language we're tracking here. Enable JavaScript and cookies to continue. The strategic repetition in our intel is pretty much impossible to ignore. The word continue is absolutely the operative term here. It represents the only actual path forward out of that just a moment holding pattern. If you want the response to resolve, these user-side steps are entirely non-negotiable. Which brings us to the ultimate question as we wrap up this brief. Even with verification completely cleared, and even if JavaScript and cookies are fully enabled on your end, will the response finally arrive, or are we going to remain suspended in this perpetual moment? Navigating this digital threshold requires both technical compliance on our end and a timely response from the server. It's a very delicate balance of actions. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and you better believe we'll keep you updated the exact moment that connection finally drops in.